it's story time. Today we are going to hear about the book of Esther. So I'm going to tell you a story. Long time ago, there was a community called the Babylonians, and they captured all the Jewish people, the people of Israel, and they made them slaves. About 100 years into that slavery, some Jewish people had gone back to Jerusalem. Others had stayed in the Persian Empire, and that place is called Susa. So this is what's happening there. There's a king named Xerxes, and he loves to be rich and powerful. He has a 187-day feast where he invited all the important men of his area. And on day 187, he asked his wife, Queen Vashti, to come in and show off how beautiful she is. And Vashti is really not interested in coming in and showing off. He gets so mad and he sends her to live with someone else, makes her not the queen anymore, and decrees that every man is the master of his own household. Well, I bet he feels very important. Now he needs a new queen, and so he has like a beauty pageant, and he has all sorts of women come live at the palace and get all these special beauty regimens, and they come in one at a time to show King Xerxes, like, oh, here's how I look. Would you like me to be your new queen? So Esther is sent to live at the palace, and she gets all the beauty regimens, and she is chosen as the new queen. But it's not like she and Xerxes love each other and spend a lot of time together. She's only called in to see the king when he wants. And actually, if you're not summoned, the king will have you killed. Whoa. So Esther is actually a Jewish woman, and she's keeping that a secret. She had asked this guy, Mordecai, who is like a relative. We call him his uncle, her uncle, Uncle Mordecai, what she should do. And he said, yeah, try and get the job as the new queen, but don't tell people you're a Jew. So Mordecai is outside near the gate, and he overhears that two royal guards are plotting to kill the king. Mordecai tells Esther, who's living in there, and she warns the king, and Mordecai is credited with saving the king's life. He's very happy. Okay. In comes a new character, Haman. Now he is appointed the highest position in the kingdom, and he decrees that everyone should have to kneel down before him. Uncle Mordecai refuses to because he only worships God. He's a Jew. And Haman hates Mordecai. So he convinces the king to decree, and remember that's like a proclamation, a rule that cannot be broken, that every single Jewish person in Persia should be killed. So he gets the okay, yep, you can kill all of the Jewish people. He decides to roll dice. They're called purs. To cast purs to figure out when the genocide should happen. And genocide is when you kill everybody. And it comes out that it's the 13th of the month of Adar. So remember, nobody's allowed to talk to the king without being summoned. And Esther knows that she's Jewish and her uncle Mordecai is Jewish, and she wants to save her people. So she bravely walks in front of the king without being invited. And she invites the king and Haman, this other guy, to a banquet. They're both pleased. So they come to the banquet and they have a great time, and they eat and they drink and they have a great time. And she says, I'm actually planning another feast for you tomorrow. So the king can't sleep, and he calls somebody into his room, and they would keep records of everything that the king did or said in like this book, like his diary. Somebody would read him his diary when he couldn't sleep. And he's like, I can't sleep. Read me a story about me. I think it's pretty funny. So he's getting the story of himself, and he is reminded of that plot to kill him that Mordecai saves. And he's like, oh, you know what? I forgot to reward Mordecai for saving my life. Can you remind me tomorrow to tell Haman that we need to have a parade for him? So Haman comes in and he's like not pleased because he hates Mordecai, but he can't tell the king that. So he's like, yeah, of course, we'll give him a fancy robe and we'll have a parade for him and it'll be great. So they have the second banquet, and she reveals that she is a Jew and that Haman is going to kill all the Jews. And the king is so mad at Haman. He has Haman killed on that same spike. Oh my gosh. Well, the problem is he can't reverse the decree. He already said that the Jews all had to be killed on the 13th of Adar. Because the purse, you remember the dice was cast. So he says a second decree that says all Jews should defend themselves. So people that practice Judaism still celebrate it's called Purim after the dice, and it's a 2-day feast. And Mordecai is given the second highest position in the kingdom, and all of the Jews survive. So here are the interesting things about the book of Esther. God isn't mentioned even once in this whole book. Even when we can't feel it, God is working. And God blessed Esther, who can then bless everyone else. God has a plan for us. And God calls us to be brave like Esther was. If she was too scared to go in to the king and invite him to the feast, who knows what would have happened. I hope you have a wonderful day, and may the peace of Christ be with you.